The Boston Garden, the Coliseum, the Corral, Northlands Coliseum, Pacific Coliseum, those old arenas that had character and brought a certain element out of the fans and made for just a different hockey game. Like, for example, the Nassau Coliseum does. We talked about that on the hockey podcast.
Yep. And the island, that Islanders crowd is, I just love that crowd.
Yeah.
It's so great to hear.
Yeah, it was nice that the Islanders and the NHL, were willing to admit that Brooklyn just wasn't working, and the Barclays Center in particular wasn't working, and they found a way to get them back in the Nassau Coliseum as a temporary solution before they moved to their new rink in Belmont Park there. But yeah, I don't know. There's something to be said about old, small, dingy barns and the character of that and what it brings out of fans. It just seems to create this different feeling, like it's this toughness in the fans and the harsh atmosphere that you're into, and a smaller rink like that. We've seen it in Winnipeg when they've had full capacity. It's a smaller rink, and it's scary in there. I mean, you listen to that noise and that energy there.
On the arena front, you hit the nail on the head with the old rustic barns. I will severely miss the Saddle Dome. Like once they get the new one built in here within the next few years, it's going to be sad. It's going to be a sad day when the Saddle Dome doesn't have hockey in it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, there's a less corporate feel to some of these older barns, and this there's nostalgia. There's memories. There's emotions built into the walls, the seats. The floors are sticky.
Yeah.
Was it the ghosts of the Forum that you heard all the time, whether it was, and then the Olympia, and it's just there's a lot of these newer rinks just seem to lack character, and here in Calgary we've got the Dome, and it's just the weird shape of the roof and how fun that is, and you go to. I would say even Rogers Arena in Vancouver, like it's been around long enough. It's got memories. It's got some of that. You have to build that up. And Nassau Coliseum for the Islanders has that. It's been around since their dynasty days in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Like it has those memories.
You mentioned Rogers Arena. I think if you talk to a Canuck fan of a certain vintage that remembers going to games at the Pacific Coliseum, I think that they would connect with memories and experiences, within that facility and feel something different there, for a lot of the same reasons. It was an East Van. It didn't have the same corporate feel. There was Linden putting the guy through the glass the one time. There was, there's all these things, right? And those things, those memories last a lifetime for people. I was going to say, I was fortunate to have the experience to go to a Rough Riders game at the old Taylor Field there, and you just feel that right away when you go in, and the opposition fans are like, what do you think of our stadium? Like, it was a point of pride for them that it was this really like tough as nails environment, because they had this old, and it was dingy underneath. I was sitting on the older side of it, and but that really just seemed to bring out a little more in the fans, I think. Not that the new stadium isn't great, but there was something different about that old one that really was a point of pride for the fans.
Well, Edmonton's doing a great job up there with their new arena, making good memories. Wait, no, sorry. No, that's not right.
Yeah, remember that? No, yeah. But you even look like the Coliseum back in the day when Montreal and Quebec had the rivalry, the old Boston Garden, where like they had the smoke come out and they had to like delay the game with the Stanley Cup final game. The Corral, but you mentioned the Pacific. We opponents called it the Pacific Mausoleum. But it's just, some of these old, I was thinking about that even last night. I think if I was to build a rink, I wonder if I would build it smaller and get the crowd closer into it and just bring something unique that brings that home ice advantage back. And I think that we're missing that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, even the old that old barn in San Jose, in the 90s was something, right? Like it's the Cow Palace. I was trying to remember what it was.
Yeah,
The Cow
that's
Palace.
right.
Yeah. Like,
But even the current rink, it's got a low roof. It's a bit of a different feel and design in there, and it does create a bit of an atmosphere that's unique to a Sharks game.